morning when I was walking with my aunt, who is a civil engineer also, I came across a building which was under construction. So since she is a civil engineer, I just asked her a question that how a building is constructed. So my aunt told that they plan they do planning, they do estimation and many sequence of steps before they build a building. So I was telling her, your civil engineering process of constructing a building is similar to our this design and analysis of algorithm, that is the process of building an algorithm. So I think you have guessed the topic for the day. That is, yes, you're right. The topic for the day is, we'll be learning about fundamental of algorithmic problem solving in this video. So here are the steps to design and analyze the algorithm. So step 1 is, you have to understand the problem. This is very important before solving a problem. That is, you have to understand the problem. That you can do by interviewing the client or asking him the question or reading the problem carefully. If you don't understand the problem, then you will solve something which the client doesn't want. This is your first step. So our second step is to decide on the computational device. That is, before writing the algorithm, you need to specify what type of device you need, like what type of RAM, what is the speed, and what you are writing, whether you are writing a sequential algorithm or parallel. And not only that, you have to choose between exact or approximate solution. That is, whether you are solving the problem exactly or approximately. For example, if you are solving the addition problem, say 2 plus 3, that is 5, then you are solving the problem exactly. Whereas if you consider a traveling salesman problem, which we can solve only approximately, that is, given n cities, we have to start from city A and travel all the path and come back to city A. So, and such that you have to have the shortest path. So for this we cannot have an exact and same solution. So these problems can be solved only approximately. Not only this, in the second step, you have to also decide on what is the data structure you will be taking, and also which algorithmic design technique. This is your step 2. Now the third step is to decide the method to specify the algorithm. There are 3 ways to specify the algorithm. First one is, you can specify using natural language, second one is using pseudocode, and the third one is using flowchart. So first one, that is natural languages, you can use any language like English to write your algorithm. That is using natural language. Second one is to use the pseudocode. In the last video we saw what is pseudocode. It is something between your this program and as well as natural language. It is a combination of your algorithm, this natural language as well as your program. And the third method is flowchart. That is diagrammatical representation of algorithm. But this flowchart can be used only if the problem is simple. We cannot use for the complicated problem. But one thing you have to note here, that is, these 3 methods are only for writing the algorithm. We cannot execute these in the program, in the computer. So to execute this, we have to convert it in the program. This is your third step. Next, now fourth step is to prove the algorithm correctness. So you have written the algorithm, you have specified, but you have to check whether it is correct or not. So there are 2 methods, either check the equality of the algorithm or use mathematical induction. For example, we saw in the last video the Euclid's algorithm. We had a equality, that is GCD of n comma n equal to GCD of m comma m mod n. That is, this equality will reduce in each step. That is, m mod n will reduce, and when n will be equal to 0, then your GCD program ends. That is, GCD of m comma 0 is m. M. So like this we can prove the correctness, or we have to use mathematical induction to prove your algorithm's correctness. Now next, fifth step is to analyze your algorithm. This is very most important. Maybe your algorithm is correct, you have written the algorithm, but it should be efficient enough. You have to check its efficiency with time as well as space. That is, time is how fast it runs and space is how much memory it takes. Not only this, we have to see other desirable properties like how simple the algorithm is, because if the algorithm is simple, then it will be easy to debug, and also we have to check for generality. This is your fifth step. Now comes your last step, that is step 6. So everything is over. You have specified the algorithm, you have checked its correctness, you saw its efficiency. So now next is, but this computer cannot execute an algorithm. So to execute this, we have to code this. That is, we have to convert this algorithm into a code. So for that, what we need to do is take a programming language and write a program for that. And but if before this step, that is, if you are not satisfied with the efficiency and all, you have to go back to old step and redesign the algorithm.
Now let's see all of the 6 steps in more detail. So first step is understanding the problem. This is very important in design and analysis of algorithm. Without understanding the problem, if you try to solve it, you might end up with a solution which doesn't match your problem. So you have to carefully understand the problem, spend enough time, then only go to next step. So what you can do to understand this problem carefully. So to understand the problem, you have to read the problem description carefully and ask questions if you have doubts, or you can interview your client for whom you are doing this software, because before writing the software you will write the algorithm, and then you can take some inputs, try to solve it, show to the client, is this what is expected for your software to do. So these all things you have to do and try to get more clear about the problem. Second thing is, some of the problems might be solved previously, so it will have some standard algorithms. So you have to you can use the existing algorithm. For example, if it's considered sorting problem, it has many existing standard algorithms like bubble sort, selection sort, insertion sort. So if that suits your problem, you can use the existing. Otherwise, sometimes what will happen, there will be the problem will be new and no solution exists. That time you have to write your algorithm from scratch. So that is what you have to do secondly. And third, very important thing is, you have to specify the exact set of input that your algorithm works. It is not mandatory for an algorithm to run for all the possible inputs, but it should work for the mentioned inputs. That is the main thing. That is, your algorithm has to work correctly only for the mentioned inputs. And if you don't specify the range of the inputs, the user, who will be a layman, can try to give any other inputs and it will not work. Your program might not work, or it might stop abruptly, or it might go on infinite loop. So that you have to take it. And the fourth thing that I mean is, you have to not rush through this step. That is, you cannot hurriedly skip this step, or think this is not important and rush to other step, because without understanding the problem, if you go to solve the problem, you will end with some other problems. So what you have to do now is, just pause the video, and just now I told you some points in the step one, that is understanding the problem. Try to recollect and scribble down in a paper. Now coming to the next. So now we have the step 2. There are 4 sub-steps in your step 2. First thing is, you have to ascertain the capability of your computational device. That is, your speed of the device and all, RAM and all. You have to make sure whether it suits your algorithm. Second thing you have to do is, you have to select whether you are choosing the problem exactly or only approximately. Third thing is, you have to decide on appropriate data structure. You have studied a subject, right, in last semester on data structure. So that is what, one of the data structure which suits your algorithm you have to select. And last is, you have to select the which algorithm design technique you will use. You will be studying many techniques in the coming chapters, like brute force, divide and conquer, decrease and conquer. So which technique you will use, you have to select. So coming to more detail of this 2A step, that is, to ascertain the capability of the computational device. That is, you have to see what suits your algorithm. Once you understand the problem carefully, you should see that your device you are using suits your algorithm, the RAM and the speed. And the second thing is, you have to also see whether your algorithm is sequential algorithm or a parallel algorithm. Sequential algorithm is an algorithm in which instruction executes sequentially. One after first statement, second will execute. After second, third. After that, fourth. So on. So that is nothing but sequential algorithm. If sometimes you are in this, your algorithms will be parallel. That is, the one instruction is not dependent on another. So you will have some set of instruction which can be run independent of some other instruction. Those are known as parallel algorithms. What is the benefit of parallel algorithm is every part of the algorithm, when you have a multi-core machine, that is you have multiple processor in your multi-processor machine, you have multiple processor in your machine, each processor can execute one part of the your code. So like this your program will become more efficient. So you have, if you can write a parallel program, that is where set of instruction are not dependent on another set of instruction, it is well and good. Your program will become very fast, as these days we have multi-processor computers. So multiple processor will be there in your computer. One processor will run one set of instructions. And last thing to be taken care is how much speed, how much amount of this memory your computer has to have. That is the thing you have to see in this step 2A. That is to ascertain the capability of a computational device. Next thing you have to do is choose between exact or approximate problem solution technique. That is, some problems can be solved exactly, some problem can be solved only approximately. The problem which can be solved exactly are known as exact solution, exact algorithm, and the problem which can solve only approximately. That is, we can't get exact answer, but approximate answer. Such algorithm are called approximation algorithm. Let's see an example of this exact and as well as approximate problems. This algorithms. So for exact algorithm, we can also consider the addition program. See, if we consider addition of 2 and 3, we get an exact answer. It is 5, not a approximate. Even some other problems for exact algorithms are extracting square roots and then solving non-linear equation or evaluating definite integrals. Now let's see which are the example of approximate problem solving. These approximate algorithms solve the problem only approximately. Example for this approximate problem algorithm is traveling salesman problem. Any idea what is this traveling salesman problem? Yes, I told in the beginning of the video. So can you recollect what is this traveling salesman problem? So this traveling salesman problem, we have to find the shortest tour given n cities. Okay, we have to find the shortest tour such that starting from the city A, we have to visit all the cities given, all the n cities, and come back to A. And that is, we have to do that such that we take a shortest path. For example, if we consider three cities like Mumbai, Pune, Delhi. So if we start from Mumbai, then we have to travel to Delhi and Pune such that you choose a shortest path, and again this come and join the starting point, that is Mumbai. That is nothing but solving the problem. That is traveling salesman problem. It is one of the example for approximation algorithm. Next thing in second step is you have to decide on appropriate data structure. Remember data structure? In third sem you had a subject called data structure. So any idea what is data structure? Why we have so many data structure? We learn so many data structure like linear data structure, non-linear. Then in linear you studied about arrays, stack, cubes, in non-linear trees. So what are these data structure? Why we need? Is data structure is efficient way of storing the data so that your program can utilize it easily. That is, the code can utilize it easily, and your program will become efficient. So they tell algorithm plus data structure gives you a program. So to make the program fast enough, it is not only important to improve the algorithm, but it is also important to improve the data structure. So that is why we have to decide on the data structure. And the last thing in step 2 is algorithm design technique. So any idea what is this algorithm design technique? So technique in the sense a strategy. So many strategies are there to solve a problem. So in algorithm design technique, you have many other strategy. So you can use while solving a problem, you can use one of the strategy. Some of the strategy you'll be studying in the subject is brute force, divide and conquer, decrease and conquer. For example, I'll give only example of divide and conquer. Rest things in the coming chapter we will see. So divide and conquer in the sense, if given a problem, maybe a big problem. So how we are trying to solve in using divide and conquer strategy is divide that bigger problem into smaller part and divide it such that you will get the smallest part of the problem, then solve it. Then going on solving smallest part, come to the entire solution. So instead of solving a problem as a whole, we divide it into small parts, then solve it, then combine it. That is nothing but divide and conquer strategy. So like this we have different strategy, decrease and conquer, greedy technique, then brute force that you will be studying in the coming videos. Why we have to learn this technique? You might be having this question. Why we have to learn this techniques or strategies? Yes, so there is some reasons here. First of all, maybe some new, you will come across some new algorithms. That time, since you have existing strategy, you can use one of this strategy to write your own algorithm or to write a new algorithm. Second one is if because of this strategy we can easily classify the algorithm based on these techniques. Hope you have understood the second step. Now just pause the video and scribble down the given points in the paper. Now let us see the step 3 in designing and analyzing an algorithm. So third step is to specify an algorithm. So we have to specify the algorithm using some method. So let's see which are those methods to specify the algorithm. So one of the method to specify the algorithm is natural language. So any idea how to specify an algorithm in natural language? As you know, algorithm are some set of instructions. So these instructions need not execute in the program. It is written execute in the computer. It is just written before the program. So what we can do, any natural language like English, usually we use English only these days, maybe in future we can use Kannada, Hindi and all. So we can use some English like language to specify the algorithm. So we can, but we have to write such statement which are unambiguous. So clear instruction, precise instruction we have to write if you have to specify the algorithm using natural language. Second method, any guesses which is the second method to specify an algorithm? Already had told in the starting of the video. Yes, you're right. It's pseudocode. Then what is the pseudocode? As I told in the earlier video, pseudocode is nothing but it is combination of two things. Which are those? One is your natural language and your program, that is using your natural language and program. We can, that is some of the programming constructs, some of the natural language instruction. If we combine and write a what is it, your algorithm, that will become the pseudocode. And third one is flowchart. So any idea what are these flowchart? Flowchart is nothing but diagrammatical representation of an algorithm. So what you can do is instead of writing an instruction or in pseudocode, you can specify using some diagrams, a flow diagram for this algorithm. But one thing you have to note that this flow chart can be written only for the algorithm which are simple. For complex algorithm we cannot use. And this flow chart they only exist in the old books these days. And one thing you have to note here, that is your this three representation is for writing the algorithm and this algorithms will not execute in the computer. To execute this in computer, you have to convert it into program. So now let us see some of the example of specifying the algorithm. So any guesses which method this is to specify the algorithm? In this example, which method we have used? Yes, this is your first method of specifying algorithm, that is using natural language. So next, So hope you have understood how to specify an algorithm. Now just pause the video, scribble down the points, try to recollect what I have said, see whether you have understood the points, and then continue the video. Now next we have step 4. So now you have understood the problem, you saw the capability of the machine, you choose the data structure, technique, everything. Then now next you have also specified, written the algorithm. Now next what you have to do is you have to see whether the algorithm is correct. Otherwise it is of no use. So you have to prove the correctness of the algorithm. So any guesses how to prove the correctness of algorithm? This is your step 4, that is proving the correctness of algorithm. Whether the algorithm runs correctly for only the range of the input you have told, not for the all the input. So in step 4, we have to prove whether the algorithm is correct. The algorithm need not work for all the range of input, but what we have to make sure is it just work for the inputs you have specified. That is, it works for your legitimate input. Then how to prove the correctness of the algorithm? So what we can do? So what we have can do is there is two methods. One is use the equality and check by solving it, or second method is use mathematical induction, that is using the equality. For example, if you consider the Euclid's algorithm, what we can do is there is equality, that is GCD of m comma n equal to GCD of n comma m mod n. So this equality will go on reducing in each step, and finally you will get an answer when n will be equal to 0, because GCD of m comma 0 is equal to m. Second method to prove the algorithm correctness is mathematical induction, which is based on the iteration, that is, it provides a natural sequence of steps needed for such proof. So, what we have to do in mathematical induction is try to prove the algorithm is wrong. Even for one input in the range given, it doesn't work, then it means your algorithm is wrong. So, like this, you can check the correct. Like this, you can check the correctness of your algorithm. Hope the step 4 of doing the algorithm correctness is clear. Now just pause the video and then scribble out these points in the book and then continue with the video. So the fifth step is to analyze an algorithm. So we have to analyze the algorithm for its efficiency. And there are two types of efficiency we have to analyze. One is time, another is space. Time indicates how fast an algorithm can run, and space indicates how much extra memory it uses. Not only this, we have to also see whether the algorithm is simple. That is, simpler program is easy to debug, and also they have this in the previous analysis. They have seen that simpler programs are quite efficient most of the time. And one more this desirable characteristics of an algorithm is you have to see it as general. That is, it should work for most of the solution. So better to write general algorithm than specific, because it will help in reusability and all. And one more thing, after these 5 steps, if you are not satisfied with any of this algorithm, then you have to again go back and redesign the algorithm. After seeing the efficiency, simplicity, and generality, if you are not satisfied, then you can have to go to previous steps and again analyze the algorithm. So now what you can do is pause the video and write down the steps and see whether you can recollect. And the next step, that is the final step in design and analysis of algorithm, is coding an algorithm. So the algorithm cannot be executed as program. That is, it will not run in computer. So you have to code it into the program. That is your last step. Then after coding, again you have to test. Only if you check the algorithm is correct is not enough. After converting that algorithm into program, you have to again check it is working properly or no, and it need not work for all the inputs, but it should work only for legitimate input, that is, which are the range of the input you have specified. Next is the valid, that's what just now what I said. Then
So hope you have understood all these 6 steps. That is, first step was to understand the algorithm. Second was to see the computational device capability and to see whether you're solving the problem exactly or only approximately, and also data structure which you have to select. Then also you have to select the algorithm design technique. And third one was how you specify the algorithm. Then after specifying, you should see the correctness. After seeing the correctness, what you have to do is check its efficiency, or that is analyze the algorithm for its efficiency, simplicity and generality. And then finally you can code the algorithm into program. Again you have to check whether the program is right or not. So hope you have understood all the steps required to design and analyze the algorithm. So here are some of the important questions which will be asked in your examination. So what you can do is just write down the answers. So far in the first video I told you what is algorithm, and the second video we saw notion of the algorithm and Euclid's algorithm for computing GCD of two numbers. And today's video we saw what are the steps involved in designing and analyzing of an algorithm. It will come for 10 marks. So just write the assignment, and also in the description box you will find a quiz. Please do it. And until I hope you'll enjoy these all contents. Any doubts, please post in the comment box. Thank you.